Unlocking your brain's potential with the power of neurofeedback. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh. I'm a neurofeedback practitioner. I want to help you understand neurofeedback and how it can make your brain strong. That's what the goal of this video and this podcast episode of Control Your Brain is. So I want you to know that there's technology out there that's highly affordable for most people that you can give your brain a workout at home. It's amazing. So I'm going to teach you that in this short podcast video episode. So the podcast streams on all streaming services, and then you can join me for the video on YouTube. And if you find this content valuable, please subscribe. I'm on a mission to help you optimize your brain in the upcoming year. So we're going to talk about a workout. This is a workout for your brain. And I want you to understand at a very easy level how neurofeedback works. So in this episode, I'm first and foremost going to talk about the 3 primary brain patterns that are plaguing most people. Number 1, attention, either through organic ADD or ADHD or behaviorally through screen time. Screen brain syndrome is affecting more people than ever, and it is giving them screen-induced ADHD, and I'm going to share that with you. Then secondarily, we're going to talk about anxiety. Now, anxiety, again, is primarily screen induced, but there's fundamentals that are in there, and I'm going to share that brain pattern with you. And then lastly, I want to talk about chronic illness or internet addiction. Those 2 things I chunk into a different category than just screen time. If you're struggling with chronic illness, unfortunately, I've been there. If you saw the videos about the toxin poisoning, and internet addiction is different than just screen brain. Internet addiction is you have a compulsion to go back. It's a longer journey of recovering from autonomic nervous system dysfunction, as is chronic illness. So I'm going to share with you the 3 brain patterns behind attention, screen brain, anxiety, and internet addiction or chronic illness. Then we're going to dive into how can neurofeedback possibly give your brain the workout that it needs to make it stronger to conquer and overcome those brain patterns that are less than optimal. Truly, they are dysfunctional brain patterns. And then, of course, today I'm going to give you your brain hack strategy. Stay tuned, get your journal, so that in the last episode, I can help you thrive instead of survive. Okay, number 1, let's just break down quickly and easily the brain patterns, the dysfunctional brain patterns behind the primary issues that people struggle with. Let's start with attention. So if you've heard me before, I will talk primarily about 3 different types of brain speeds that our brain should use. I like to use a lot of car analogies. I'm in the midst of buying my son Seamus, the last kid I'm buying a car anytime soon, a new car, so that he's a car kid. It's a car club kid type of car. It's called the Toyota 86. It's coming in just a few days. And when you have a car, you hope, if it's an automatic transmission, that car is able to shift gears easily without you having to do anything. That's the essence of an automatic transmission. Your brain should shift gears just like an automatic transmission. It's called circadian rhythms. So across the rhythm of the day, your brain should be able to wake up and kind of feel groggy in the morning, but then you're having coffee and you're able to feel calm and relaxed. You're not anxious. You're not yet focused. You're not being called to go do something to self-soothe or stimulate. You're just chill. You're having some coffee. But then it's time to get to work, and it's time to activate your brain and kick it into focus mode. So that then helps you to focus. And if something stressful happens, you recognize you've missed a meeting and you haul booty over to that meeting and you sit yourself in the chair, and now the energy can come down. You have that stress response, but you can recover quickly. Then you go home, you're able to chill and have dinner with your 6 beautiful children. Then you're able to relax, maybe watch a little Suits. Then you feel groggy and you get into bed, and 15 to 20 minutes later you fall asleep and you're able to stay beautifully asleep like a baby for 8 hours. That's healthy circadian rhythms, automatic transmission. Now what happens for many people is Instead of their brain working like the automatic transmission that it should, it is more like a sketchy manual transmission that is stuck in a gear. So when it comes to attention, the gear that the brain is stuck in is braking. So back to the idea of the three categories of brain speeds, there's braking, neutral, and gassing. So if you have ADHD or if you're diagnosed with ADD, we know that it's called the theta to beta ratio. It's the biomarker for attention difficulties. Too much theta, which is too much braking in the brain. It's literally like your car has the ability to get around town at 45 miles per hour, but you have the brakes on. So now you're going 15 miles per hour and you're not able to focus. You're not able to concentrate, attend. You're distractible because you have the brakes on. It's difficult to get things done. This dysfunctional brain pattern is one of too much braking. But the beautiful thing is, through neurofeedback and the wonders of neuroplasticity, neurofeedback can take your proverbial feet off the brakes. It's amazing and it's all measurable. Everything I do, all data driven, all completely measurable. So when it comes to ADD, ADHD, and attention challenges, it's too much braking in the brain, too much slowing. Now, let's move on to anxiety. And I promise you I'll get back to screen brain in a second. But when we move on to anxiety, now this is a brain that's gassing too much. So we already said calm focus is in the 45 mile per hour range. If you have anxiety, your brain is stuck in high beta. High beta is 75 to 95 miles per hour. You're cranking around town instead of driving at 45 miles per hour of calm focus. Now, in that case, you're going to feel rumination, hypervigilance, you're going to run hot, it's going to be difficult to fall asleep. To fall asleep, your brain has to get all the way back down to that braking of 1 to 3 hertz. And if you're cruising around at 95 miles per hour, you're probably at 35, 40 hertz or higher. Hertz are cycles per second of the electrical energy in your brain. It really is much too fast. And depending upon the magnitude of high beta, you can really suffer from generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety, a whole host of anxious behaviors, obsessive compulsive disorder. You can really struggle with a lot of behaviors that stem from a brain that's running too fast with too much gassing. So I call the ADHD pattern of too much theta tired, because basically it's breaking in the brain, a brain that's kind of falling asleep. I call the high beta brain wired. And the dysfunctional brain patterns that most people struggle with are wired and tired or both. And so when it comes to screen brain syndrome, what we know is that when people go into the screen frequently, consistently, and especially for large amounts of time, regardless of the content, which we can visit in a second, but regardless of the content, screens resonate at 60 hertz. That's very fast. So what happens is your brain will attune to the screen, and before you know it, your brain is wired and tired. Now, if you have an ADHD brain, your brain's tired in the first place, so it'll feel stimulated by the screen. It'll feel good in the screen, but it's going to wire and tire your brain more. If you have anxiety, it's going to soothe your brain. It's going to make the wired brain feel a little more tired. It'll feel good when you're in the screen, but then when it's time to get back to life, you're going to be extra wired and tired. So hopefully you're with me, ADHD and anxiety. Now let's move on to internet addictions and chronic illness. They're very similar. And when you have a chronic illness, you're in what's called autonomic nervous system dysfunction most times. So it's when your brain is not shifting out of wired and tired into calm focus. You're stuck there. And so what that can do is shift a person's brain into neutral. When it comes to internet addictions, if you're really caught up in the cycle still, you'll be in that wired and tired brain pattern. But at a certain point, it tips into autonomic nervous system dysfunction, which I call drained brain. So the wired and tired brain, I've been calling it strained brain. You'll feel the strain in your nervous system in the behaviors of your mind and your body. But again, that strain can be reduced using neurofeedback, and we're going to get there in 1 second. But in the meantime, when you're in strained brain for a long time, it makes your brain tip into drained brain. Drained brain's like artificially shifting into neutral. So you want to be able to put your car into neutral for a little while you're having that coffee break. But you want to be able to shift out of neutral into 45 miles per hour for calm focus. When your brain tips into drain brain, and it can happen in chronic illness for a whole host of reasons, and it definitely happens when it comes to internet addictions because of the supernormal stimuli of the screen. What happens is you get stuck in drained brain and it becomes a downward spiral, the proverbial negative feedback loop of neurology. So the idea is neuroplasticity can be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending upon how you're using it. If you're doing a lot of healthy things, you're going to get an upward spiral, a positive feedback loop. If you're doing unhealthy things, a lot of them or one of them at a high degree, you're going to get a downward spiral of the negative feedback loop. A lot of screen time leads to a negative feedback loop. And if you struggle with chronic illness, something has happened that has put you into this negative feedback loop. And once you're stuck in it, it can be really hard to get back out. So that's why I want you to know that there is this dysfunction in your brain. So now let's segue to number 2 so I can tell you how the wonders and the power of neurofeedback can help you. So what I'm talking about in this first section is changes in the way that your brain uses electrical energy. That electrical energy in your brain basically changes the way that neurotransmitters cascade, that hormones are released, that messages are sent throughout your central nervous system and your peripheral nervous system. We forget that our brains are the captain of the ship, and your brain's giving out all the orders to all the other rowers on the ship. That's the neurotransmitters, the hormones, the spinal cord, the central nervous system, the peripheral nerves. Every cell in your body is being run by your brain. We can't give it enough credit. So when your brain changes the way it's using electrical energy to this wired and tired pattern, or this drained brain pattern, strained brain and drained brain, it changes everything else. So a lot of times when people are on a healing journey, they don't recognize that. I want you to understand this is a top-down approach, and that you really can heal your brain, which it will either heal your situation or facilitate healing of your situation. So what I mean by that is when we take wired and tired, strained brain, or we take drained brain, and we optimize it back to the calm, focus, optimal brain pattern, now everything begins to flow more smoothly and in a healthy pattern. It's that simple. So, like I told you, it's all measurable. So let me tell you how it works. There's a piece of technology that I recommend that you get. I'm going to teach you what it is and how it works in a program that I offer that's called Brain Training 101. I would love for you to get into this program moving into the new year. It's a short program. It's a small investment for most people. And I would love for you to get into that program so I can teach you about the tech, and I can show you how to use it, and I can show you how to interpret the data. It's amazing. You can use it at home and it's fairly affordable. And this is what it does. You put the technology on, it's a headband, and it has sensors in the frontal lobes, sensors in the temporal lobes. And it does not put anything into your brain. What it does is it reads how your brain is performing, and it identifies, is it in strained brain? Is it in drained brain? Is it in the optimal pattern? And it will guide your brain closer to the optimal pattern by training down strained brain, training up drained brain. So it's really powerful for you. It helps you to optimize your brain. And the reason I say we're going to get strong is because it's like a workout for your brain. It doesn't put anything into your brain. So you think about it this way. If you're going to get strong biceps, you need some weights. You need 15-pound weights. That's what I use. So you might need 40-pound weights if you're a big buff man. But if you're like me, 15-pound weights will do the trick. But you have to use those weights, and it puts the proper amount of tension on your bicep muscle. And it doesn't put anything in, and you don't have to think to yourself, okay, bicep muscle, get bigger and get stronger. All you have to do is do the workout with the feedback from the weight to the bicep. And if you do that consistently, your bicep's going to get stronger over time. You don't have to think about it. It doesn't put anything in. This brain training technology works in the same way, which is why I want you to have it. If everybody in the world had this tech and knew how to use it, the world would be a different place. And I remember a few years ago, one of my kiddos, Declan, who's now going to be 20, believe it or not, he was doing a project that I don't even remember who the president was. I think it was Obama. And he's like, if the president could do one thing, Ma, what would you have him do? And I said, I'd have him map every single person so that they had a QEEG brain map. So every person knew what their brain was doing. And I'd have it so that everybody in the whole world could do neurofeedback for free. Well, I'm not able to offer that to you, but what I am able to offer you is a short program that teaches you how to use technology at home and the best pricing on that technology. I don't sell that technology. I can just move you through to the company that does, and you get the biggest discount if you buy it through my link because I send them so many people. But I really want you to have it. I use mine all the time, and I have to put the graph of my session the other day because it was just so beautiful. So what happens in the session is you will get audio feedback. Is your brain wired and tired? Is it moving closer to calm focus? And the other day I did a session, my brain was kind of going because I had been working, I've been busy, I've been momming. So at the beginning of my session, my brain's more in the active range. Actually, it was in the neutral range because my brain's in pretty good shape even when it's busy. So active, neutral, and calm. Mine started in the neutral range, and you could see it spiking up and down training. And then it hit a rhythm after 5 minutes. It was only a 10-minute session for me. It hit a rhythm, and I achieved the calm brain pattern for over 5 minutes, and that earned me birds in my ear. So if your brain is strained, you will hear choppy, stormy sounds. As your brain regulates and it's highly functional and it's less dysfunctional, you will hear birds and calm soundscapes. It is a workout for your brain, and it works. So your brain hack strategy for the day is invest in yourself. Figure out how to use this technology because it is a game changer and it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I know it's pun intended, but I want you to know how to use this technology. I want you to understand how your brain works. I will be bringing you more content here. I'm always trying, but I'm spread a little thin. I'm trying to bring you content. I curated this program and I priced it really low so that I can help you. And then if you're interested in getting the headband, you can move forward and do that with the best pricing, but you don't have to. So this time I want you to invest in yourself and let me teach you the ins and outs of this so that in this upcoming year, you can focus and have the best attention possible. You can decrease your anxiety and feel like a new person. Pinch me, please, right? That's what one of my clients said, pinch me, because I didn't even know I could feel this way. And I want you to come out of the screen and rock out your best life. So please get into that program. But I'm going to give you another brain hack strategy here so you can do it in your journal. In your journal, I want you to, I call it the island of here and now and the island of where you want to be, because we have to be intentional in creating this life. So in terms of attention, anxiety, and screen use, where are you right now? Give yourself a score of 1 to 5. Of 5 is you're doing exactly what you want. 1 is you're far off the mark in attention, anxiety, and screen time. The way that we measure it is, are you able to attend and focus and be motivated and stay the course on the projects and the passions and the purposes of your life? In terms of anxiety, do you feel calm and focused each day? Can you sleep all night long? Can you have a coffee break and just chill? Can you relax with your people? Can you get to focus when you want to and kick some booty and rock out your best life and then come back and chill again? That's going to give you a 5 in anxiety. A 1, a low anxiety, is you feel anxious all the time. You have social anxiety and you can't do the things that you want to. And then when it comes to screen time, go into your phone and look at your screen time report. You should be using your screens for less than an hour a day. And if you use it for work, it might approach 2 or 3 hours checking emails, phone calls. If you crank the tunes on Spotify like I do, that's going to add up. But you can look at the categories. If you're on social media, if you're mindlessly watching videos, you need to make some steps there. 5 is you're actively using your technology in a really healthy way. A 1's going to be you spend a lot of time passively consuming just mindless videos, shows, social media. So give yourself a score there out of 15. And if you're not high up near 15, there's room for improvement in your brain. Do that exercise, and hopefully it's going to show you that right now that Brain Training 101 is priced at $49. I try not to put the price on videos because it does fluctuate, but it's a low investment. Get into that program so I can help you because it's going to be a game changer. All right, I hope this helped you out, and until next time, control your brain or it'll control you.